Octopath Traveler made my life miserable, but also, ironically, made me a very happy gamer. Here's why. Right, the first thing that I want to say is that I absolutely love this game. This is one of the best current, modern, retro-looking RPGs of this generation, and it's become one of my favorite RPGs of this generation as well. I love this game to pieces, and I think it's just mind-blowing and simply beautiful and amazing. So I guess I should start with the positive aspects first of this game, and I want you to know that I love this game to pieces, yes, but it also exceeded my expectations. When I first played this game many years ago, me and my friend just played with 3 characters for like half an hour, and I was like a little bit, I like the game, but I see the ups and downs, like there were so many ups and downs, so many mixed feelings about it, that I just wasn't so sure about it. But now that I played it and finished it, I am completely in love with it. I can't believe how good it is. It easily surpassed my expectations. Now, the first positive aspect that stands out like crazy in this game is how beautiful it is. The art style, how baroque it is with a lot of browns. That and the soundtrack is just mind-blowing. The soundtrack, it's not one of the best soundtracks of all time. Some songs are kind of forgettable, but most of the soundtrack is just completely beautiful as well. Some really melancholic, nostalgic themes there that really blend in with the drama, really blend in with the gameplay, the overall universe, and most importantly, some of the characters' own feelings and struggles. Another aspect that I absolutely loved about this game is the story. Many people complain how there's just a story following every single character separately, but even though the characters' stories never intertwine, it never bothered me. I really like this because this game is so focused on each character's development through every single chapter. There's 4 chapters per character. It's so well developed, so well written. It just makes you feel like more JRPGs, more modern JRPGs should be like this, because 8 out of 10 RPGs nowadays are just full of fan service, full of lollies, full of cheesy stories, or it's just a plain copy of a copy of a copy. And this game, story-wise, spams, for the most part, originality. Some really dark, some really adult themes there, some tragedies, something very human, something very realistic, and that's why I love this game to pieces. Last but not least, the battle system. I mean, you gotta love the battle system just like I did in this game, otherwise you're probably gonna hate it, but we'll get to that later. The battle system is just how you exploit the enemy's weaknesses and how that plays a major role in the game. It's all about the battle mechanics with the bosses, with everything and every single creature and enemy in this game. It revolves around exploiting everybody's weaknesses and then charging your attacks and beat the crap out of them and just do some really massive damage, even to the bosses. I love that battle system because it's so rewarding. The patience, how you start building momentum since the beginning, how you try to find out what are their weaknesses, and once you do, you exploit them, and it's at the end when you beat the crap out of everybody, even the bosses, it's so goddamn rewarding. This has a very cool, original, and addictive battle system. So those are the positive aspects of this game. Now let's get to the negatives. How this game made me so happy. I loved it, but at the same time, it almost ruined my fucking life. This game pissed the shit out of me like crazy. So many times I rage quit on it and I abandoned it. I was like, I'm so done with this game. And I moved to another game, but then I started missing the game because it's so goddamn good and addictive, and it lured me back over and over until I beat it. It's a very good game, but it's just so atrociously unfair and hard. I guess the first thing I want to complain about is the random encounter rate. I mean, it's one of those games because it's retro influenced. You go around, the enemy interrupts you, and then you get thrown into the battle screen. That pisses off everybody. Nobody likes random encounters. Nobody liked them back then. Nobody likes them now. I don't know what the hell were they thinking creating that, bringing back the random encounter rate. I don't understand, and it's high. It's not that high, but it's high, so it's a little bit unnerving. However, once you reach a certain point of the game, you get this ability that greatly reduces the encounter rate, and once you get that, it's, oh my god, it's paradise. But that's not one of my major complaints. There's only 2 things two things that almost killed the game for me, almost made my life miserable. The first one is the bosses. Some of these bosses are extremely unfair, and some others are extremely easy. But the one thing they both have in common is that they have way too much HP, way too much health. Like, what's the freaking point? You know, it was only dragging the battles longer, way longer than necessary. With the extremely tough boss battles, you were suffering. You were like, oh, come on, just end, please. And with several of them, specifically bosses like Miguel from Alphine's Chapter 2 or 3, I think, or characters like Gareth from Therion's Chapter 3, I believe. Oh my god, so unfair. Miguel is probably the most unfair boss battle I encountered in this game. So some of these boss battles were just dragging on and on and on forever. And for the ones that were extremely easy, it was just the same feeling. It was like, instead of being preoccupied and worried and stressed, you were like bored to pieces, man. Like, oh, when is this gonna end? I was exploring that boss's weaknesses, and then I beat the crap out of him, did some nasty damage, rinse and repeat, over and over and over. What was the point of making these bosses so goddamn long? I know it was because to abuse the battle system. I love the battle system, yes, but even though I absolutely adore the battle system, these boss battles wore me out, easy or hard. But the one thing that can destroy everybody's experience, and from what I've seen with friends, supporters, fans, viewers, everybody I know, the one thing most people have in common when it comes to complaining about the game is the grinding. That is so nerve-wracking. And you wanna know why? It's because of one thing, one simple thing. Characters that are not in your active party do not gain experience, which means you gotta grind them all. And why would you want to grind them all? Because it just so happens that for every single character chapter, you need that particular character in your party. So imagine 3 of your party members, your main party members, are level 30, and then you gotta put this character into your party to play their chapter, and that character is like level 10. And oh boy, it takes forever to grind, and the experience system here is not that slow, but because the battles sometimes take a long time, because you gotta exploit every single, and even the weakest enemies, you gotta exploit their weaknesses first to beat the shit out of them. So because of that, the battles take forever. Therefore, it takes forever to grind, and that is so messed up, man. Okay, I reached the point where my 3 main playable characters were over-leveled, therefore overpowered, and that helped out a lot. Some of them were like already level 40 or 45 or level 50, and I only grinded my other character, my extra character, for their chapter until level 25 or level 30, and I pulled through because the other guys were kind of overpowered. But even so, it's just nerve-wracking, especially at the end. I beat this game. To beat this game, you need to finish the character you selected. You need to finish their chapters, all 4 of them. Obviously, doing every other chapter is entirely optional because you recruit every single character once you beat each character's prologue. But since there's so much of a difference between one chapter and the other, like one chapter the game tells you gotta be around level 10, and then for the next chapter, you gotta be level fucking 20, or 25, or 40. So it kind of forces you to go and do the other characters' stories, chapters, and beat every single one of them. So that's exactly what I did. Like many other people, I beat the game with every single character. I finished every single playthrough, and then when I beat the final boss on chapter 4 of Primrose, the credits rolled, and that was the end. However, once it was done, the game threw me back as if nothing ever happened, so I was confused. So I looked online, what the hell was I supposed to do? And it turns out, yeah, the game had ended, but there was also a post-game, like a post-dungeon. When I found out how is the dungeon and how many bosses are there and how brutally hard it is, I gave up. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. Why? Because of that. Because even some of my characters were tough as nails, like level 60. Half of my other characters were like level 30, 35. So, which means I'm gonna have to grind them all until level 60, because, sorry for the spoiler, but you gotta do this, during the final battles, you gotta play with all the characters. I think you divide your whole party into 2 teams with 4 characters each. And when I found out about that, I turned the game off. Yeah. Octopath Traveler, it's a great game. I loved it to pieces. It's one of the best of this modern generation, one of the best JRPGs there ever is. But you know what? I don't think I'll ever play this game again because I don't want to go through all that bullshit in my life again. I don't want to feel miserable. It made me so happy. I'm happy with my experience. Love the game. Totally recommend it for the hardcore player. There you go, Octopath Traveler. But oh boy, it did ruin my freaking life. But in the end, it made me so happy at the same time. Thanks for watching, everybody.